Friends, we are connecting the dots. I am so happy to be here with you guys tonight. All right, so let me see where we are here. Hey, flower friends, welcome to tonight's pop-up show. I hope that we are going to have some fun here together. Now, tonight's show is not about eucalyptus, but eucalyptus is one of the things that I start from seed. And so I thought I would this is from our Friday harvest. I started all of this from seed back in January, and we're now harvesting it here in the fall. Parvula gum, my very favorite polyanthemus. Don't you just love her? And silver dollar, the one there in the middle that's kind of the standard. And you know, I think a lot of people don't grow it because they're afraid to start from seed. And friend, I'm just going to show you tonight just how simple and easy it can be to start from seed. But of course, we're not starting this now. We have all of our spring flowers are on deck tonight for seed starting. And let me just put these back so they're not out of water. All right, my friends, so let me get my computers lined up here. You know, I'm a one-girl show when I do pop-ups, and I just want to welcome everybody. And so I just want to, you know, especially if you are just dropping in for the very first time, or maybe we've just met, I just want to say, hey, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am so glad that you've come by to spend a little while with me here tonight. And, you know, I've been a commercial cut flower farmer for over 25 years, and now I'm on this mission to help other people to grow cut flowers, particularly people that were like me that thought they could never do it because of circumstances, lack of experience, just not having been in that world before, right? And so now I do lots of shows, teaching and showing and demonstrating how I actually start seeds, grow flowers, cutting them, condition them, all the parts, all the pieces. And we do it here on the live gardening show, and you have the opportunity to purchase the same tools, seed supplies, my books, all kinds of stuff, online courses. We have it all for you, friends, and we've made it all available to you. So today's show is I'm going to be sharing with you my very favorite way to start seeds, which is soil blocking. And I was really reserved, y'all. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I brought 12 trays of seedlings out here to show you guys. You know, we are in like week 2 of cool flower seed starting, cool flowers or seed cool season hardy annuals. And I think it's really helpful for people to see them when they're tiny, not when they've grown up big. And so we are going to look at all of those. And friends, we extended our Soil Block Maker special sale. We sold out. We sold out last weekend. We restocked this past weekend, sold out again. So now we are really restocked, and the sale is on, and it'll be on through Wednesday night at 12 midnight Eastern time. And the Soil Block Maker kit, which is already a deal because we've made it a kit, it's discounted. It is off 20% off. It's the deal of a lifetime. And I'm going to bring you up to date on my big project that's going to come out this winter. And I spent all day today literally working on it, and it's just all coming together. It's so scary and so exciting all at the same time. And remember that I do a little live Q&A at the end. So if you have questions that come up, please put them in the comments. Just type @Lisa so I'll recognize it as a question. And at the end, I will answer a few of those. And so, friends, before we get started, I just want to say how much I appreciate all of you guys that share our show. You know that there's a share button right down here at the bottom of your screen that you can share and invite your friends to come over to the live gardening show. If you think that they'd enjoy this, we'd love to have them here with us. So a couple of just housekeeping things. First off, please double check when you place your orders that we have a valid email and that your phone number is correct. We can't ship your package if we don't have a good email. We can't send you a tracking ticket. So please double check that. And remember that here in the app, when you do a seed packet only order, the shipping is on us. That means if you only order seeds, we pay for the shipping, and we love doing that for you guys. But in addition to that, if you order products, there's a cap on product shipping. It's $11.95, and that is for 1 or 10 products. So what a deal, because there's usually additional shipping on the Soul Block Maker kit that's over here on sale because it weighs more, y'all. So you get a little savings on shipping depending on where you live, plus it's on sale. Remember that we do ship to all 50 of the United States with no international shipping available. So friends, if you have just happened upon me on social media, I'm so glad you're here. But what I want you to know is that we have a phone app. It is free. But your experience is so much different. You can see that people are commenting down here and talking to each other. You can participate in the Q&A. You can submit questions. And when you're here to come to the Friday show, we actually do a giveaway. So to get the app, it is free. Just go to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop. Download our shop app. We have two, a Learn app and a shop app. You can get both of them. They're both free. But the shop app is where I am. It'll take you about 60 seconds to go over there, find it, download it, and get back over here. And it's just a whole lot different experience, and we would absolutely love for you to be a part of that. Now, frequently, just like with these Soul Block Maker kits, if you go to a product and it is sold out, please get on the notification list, because as I've said in the past, this app and our big website do not communicate. So sometimes the team, like they did for this weekend, is over on our big website bringing over more stock here into the app. So getting notified just simply means if that's happening, you'll get a ding on your phone so you won't miss out, per se, like on a special. And so, friends, if you see people posting the sunflower emoji, which we always have some, those are the TGW family. These are people that are our online course students, members of my private flower farmer club, and just we consider them family, and we absolutely adore it when they identify themselves as one of us here inside the app. So I want to jump right in tonight to the seed starting and soul block making. And I want to talk about, like, first off, out of the gate, what am I planting now? So I am planting Cool Flowers, which, if you're not familiar, Cool Flowers is actually the name of a book that I wrote 12 years ago. And it's about how to grow cool season hardy annuals, like the sisters to all the warm season annuals we all know about, right? And they're the ones, I'm starting the ones that, for fall, that survive my winter lowest temperature. And you might be very surprised of the plants that will survive in your winter lowest temperature or in your winter hardiness zone. And if any of the cool season hardy annuals will survive your winter hardiness zone, that means there's a great benefit to you fall planting it, right? And so how, can you plant those cool flowers now? Sorry, y'all, I'm looking at questions. Can you plant cool flowers now? This is how you know. And we have so many resources, free and in my books. Is first off, you need to know what your winter hardiness zone is, or if you're not in the U.S., find what is your lowest winter average temperature. And you can do that simply by an internet search with your zip code or city or state, and just say, what is my average lowest winter temperature? And write that number down. Then find flowers that say cool season hardy annuals that say they survive your winter lowest temperature or higher. And yes, you can start those flowers now to plant them in fall. So how do you find out what the flowers' lowest temperatures are, right? So many ways, y'all. First off, one way is on our seed packets. Everything you need to know to start a seed is included on our seed packets. But the piece we're talking about now, it tells you winter hardy to zone 7. This is Magus. And so that means if you live in zone 7, 8 is south, 9 is further south, any of those people can start Magus in the fall. And so it's on our seed packets. It's on our website. If you go to any of the flowers in our store and just scroll down and read the information, it tells you right there. Here in our app on the product page for each seed, it tells you that same information. And if you haven't gotten our app, that's a really great reason just to have that information right in your pocket. And friends, all of my books include that information. So the information is really out there and easy. And once you wrap your head around it, what is your lowest? Okay, then what flowers survive that? Oh my gosh, I can plant all of those in the fall, right? So let's look first at my first book, Cool Flowers, which I really describe to folks that, let me find the book so it can be on here in case you want to grab one. Cool Flowers is the first book that I wrote. And it was about a lecture that I had been given for over like 12 years. I launched my flower farming career on this family of flowers. This is my simple, down and dirty details on the cool flower concept of how to figure out what you can plant and then how cool season gardening is different than warm season. This is an easy read, y'all. It's only 160 pages. And if you're not familiar with cool flowers or growing cool season hardy annuals, this is a great place to start. And this book actually comes with a free video book study. It's kind of like behind the scenes, a little bit deeper, a little bit more behind what was in the book. It's a video book study. It comes free with it. And I would love to sign one of those for you. But most of all, so each resource, because you know, y'all, I am all about quick, right? This includes, I went too far. Try not to squish. I have trays of plants sitting everywhere. In this book on page 138, there's a cheat list. This is 30 of the cool flowers that are in this little book. It tells you what winter hardiness zone they're hardy to. And just kind of, it tells you the preferred way to start the seed. It's like the quick, you know, the cliff notes to the whole book is right here, right? So cool flowers, I would love to sign one of those for you. And then if you've been dabbling or you're a serious gardener and you really want to learn more about growing flowers and like taking it over the top, my next book that came out last year, the Cut Flower Handbook, friends, this book includes warm season and cool season and how you bring them together in a garden, in a 3-season cutting garden, all outside. And so if you're new here, you have to know that I live in the middle of the city. I have no green or hoop houses. Everything I do is out in a garden just like you do, okay? And so everybody can plant cool flowers. It's just that we all may plant them at different times depending on where we live. So don't think, oh gosh, I'm up in zone 4. I can't, fall plant anything. Well, there may only be a handful, if any, that you could fall plant. But guess what? The second planting window is very early spring, and that is your sweet spot for those people that live up north. The Cut Flower Handbook really takes you through the concept of a cutting garden, how to set it up for the lowest maintenance, how to get the most out of it, but most importantly, how to figure out when you start your warm, when you start your cool, and how to orchestrate that very simply all together in this book. So the book features 66 flowers, 41 cool, 25 warm. But when you purchase this book from us, we include the bonus of the PDF download of the flowers I couldn't fit in the book. 5 of these are cool, 1 is warm. So that means technically you're getting 46 cool season hardy annuals in this book. I would love to sign one for you. And I wholeheartedly say every question I get asked on all levels, the answer is in this book. This is the book you should read this winter like 3 times. If you really want to get down to the business of growing great cut flowers, whether it's for pleasure or for profit. And I would love to sign one of these for you. Now, let me find where I am here. So now I want to show off some babies, right? And so I just thought it would be such a great idea. I actually texted last night to the team and said, hey, I think I should just do a seedling show. I mean, I think that this is so inspiring. You know, I'm also the girl that loves looking at her garden like the week after it's all been planted, meaning rows of little baby plants, not beautiful flowers growing. I love that. And so I am going to just show you these trays, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about each one. But what I want you to understand is, you know, I have some beautiful flowers. If y'all can see it, I have a bunch of gorgeous flowers down here at my feet. These are all warm season tender annuals, like the eucalyptus, the stuff that got started earlier this year. If you want to have a haul in the spring, it's cool season hardy annuals. You got to get on the bandwagon. And that's what we're talking about here. So first up, this is a Sweet William. So these, I'm going to tell you the dates. These were started September 15th. So that means these are 7 days old. And this is a new Sweet William that we're testing out. Look at how beautiful that is. So these are the small soil blocks. There's 100 blocks on this little tray. And I will tell you that Sweet William, all the cool flowers follow this. They really prefer cooler air temperatures like 65 to 70 degrees. And we get, when I hit it, that's why we have such great germination. Some years, if it's just super hot outside, which makes it warmer inside, it might not be so good. But y'all, I was not an out-of-the-gate superstar. I've practiced a lot. So that is Sweet William. And I've got flowers around my feet. Now, this one, I didn't know this was a cool flower until about 5 or 6 years ago. This is Craspedia, Billy Balls. The little yellow ball that looks like Gumphrena kind, it's about that same size. This is an amazing cut flower, and it dries and looks just like it does when it's fresh. Craspedia is one that we've actually fall and very early spring planted, and they both do great. We get 36-inch stems when we fall plant. See, that's the reason that people need to figure this out. The difference in your plant that you can fall plant in your garden versus if you planted it just in spring like most people try to do. Your plants in fall spend all winter dormant, but they're laying down roots. They're well established. So the first piece of spring that happens, these guys are ready to go, unlike the ones that get planted in spring that are busy trying to put down some roots and they got to start growing foliage and then they need to start blooming. It is just so simple to see why when you plant them and the cool flower concept, they are more abundant, more disease and pest resistant, more stems, taller stems. I mean, I could go on and on. And Billy Balls is just one of those. Love this Craspedia. Now here's one that we just started. These were started on the 18th, I think. These are Snapdragons. Snaps are a little slower, you know, and you can see that we had some early sprouters. This is a mix. This is Rocket Mix. And snaps, just like the rest of them, you can see the little heads. All of them are popping up now. And Snapdragons really, really don't like warm conditions to get germinated in. But friends, as you'll see here in just a minute, I still use a seedling heat map, but I just control it differently, right? All right, y'all, I'm trying to keep track of where I am. Showed you those. Oh my gosh, look at this one. And you know, when I'm looking at all these trays, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, who's gonna cut all those flowers? This is Colorado Sunset Yarrow, and it was started on the 8th. So what does that make it? 12. These are like 14 days old. And, you know, I'll tell you that our beds aren't ready. So I'm kind of like stalling my plants a little bit, just meaning I'm not being as heavy-handed with water as I could be. So this is Colorado Sunset which is my favorite yarrow for growing. And then look at this. This is Fire King Scabiosus. We get so many questions about this. So this is, I'm looking, I don't see one that it's really visible. This is a seed, the scabby. You can almost see, I don't know how good y'all can see this. This one right here where my finger is, you can see the skeleton of, it's like a little badminton birdie, I guess you call it. That's the seeds down in it, and you literally poke that down into the soil block. And this is it. This is them. And, you know, we get a lot of questions about that, and they do really great, as you can see. So that is Scabiosus Fire King. Oh my goodness, and here's a favorite, y'all. This is one that I happened onto years ago, and then I turned a lot of my flower farming friends on. This is Lambada Monarda, and it's not like other bee balms. It is so gorgeous. I just can't even tell you. And look at that germination. And the bumblebees absolutely love it too, but it is an amazing cut flower. And look at the high rate of germination. It is just great stuff. And then this one, this is a new one. Well, it's not new, it's back. This is Salvia Blue Batter. This is a Salvia farinaceae. It's different than some of the other salvias. It's got a purple spike. I love the foliage. We grow it as a hardy annual, grows really tall. Back when I sold to Colonial Williamsburg, they could never have enough of this. Y'all, do y'all love baby plants as much as I do? I mean, this could be it for me, you know? I mean, I could just do this. I love these guys. So, and here is the cream of the crop. Guess what this is, y'all? This is Rudbeckia triloba. So many folks have trouble starting this one, and I'll tell you what I did this year in my effort to speed it up because it can be slow. We actually sowed, so this is Rudbeckia triloba, which is not a Rudbeckia hirschia, which is all the others that I actually grow. And this one, Bobo sowed the seeds according to directions, which I believe is surface, firmly seated on the surface. Then we put them in the refrigerator. This tray just sat in the refrigerator for a week just to chill it. And then we took it out and put it on a seedling heat mat, and here we are. This is from September 3rd, so these are 19 days old, and we have just about 98% germination. Absolutely fantastic. Almost done, y'all. I mean, I'm like a parent with pictures of their first grandkids, isn't it? Now, if you're not growing this is a mobium. A mobium is that little white flower. And this is super great filler, y'all. It looks like a cross between feverfew and straw flowers. Top notch. Great germinator. And then I wanted to just show you this one. This is another Sweet William, and this is kind of how I take it off the heat. If you can see, so there was some early germinators. What is this? This is Amazon Cherry. So there's always some early bird sprouters. But once I start, see all these little short guys coming along? What I literally do is I pull the tray up and I look at it and I count how many seeds are sprouted in a cluster of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's over 50%, right? So I just pulled these guys out and they're going over to the grow lights out off of the heat. And so, my friends, I'll finish with this one and then we're gonna move on to doing this. This is, Prairie Sun. This is a Rudbeckia hirschia, the green eye, super long lasting, gorgeous in the landscape, excellent germination. You know, I will just say that, you know, I'm a soil blocking person because it was the only way I was able to be really successful. And that makes such a big difference, right? I mean, makes such a big difference. So I want to show you first, before I jump in, I'm going to soil block for you next. Here is my tray of kale that should have been planted last week. This is from August 14th. So that is 4 weeks plus a week. So 5 weeks. I don't ever usually leave anything. But what I just wanted to show you is, look how great they still look. There is something about this growing environment of not being in a container. The roots get so much oxygen that they just do amazing things. And I wanted to do this specifically because people ask us about it. So when you leave them in the tray too long, like I have with these, the roots get crazy, y'all. And if I were to, so I literally just pick up a cluster of 20 and place them on my hand to plant. And then I would just literally break them off. And look at that. Look at that little plant. That baby would hit the ground running. And I don't worry about ripping the roots. That's just pruning them, y'all. And the thing about them being this old is they have really sturdy stems. I think I'm going to feel compelled to plant. I can't plant them tomorrow, but maybe the day after tomorrow. Look at the roots. You know, that's a plant that's going to hit the ground running, right? So soil blocking is an amazing way to start seeds, not only for the healthy seedlings. It takes small, this is 40 plants on this little 5 by 8 tray, I think it is. Small space, y'all, which is what I am all about here. All right, let me see what I'm supposed to be doing now. All right, I've clicked the wrong button over here. Let me find. So I am going to actually make some soil blocks now. And you know, I want to say I've made, my goodness, when we were in high production, we were making over 100,000 soil blocks a year, easily, right? So I've made a lot of blocks. Don't expect to be a champ right out of the gate. Some of you are. You send me pictures. I see them. But if you're not, don't beat yourself up, right? All right, so let's see, how am I going to do this? Oh, I always have way too much stuff. All right, so here's the story on soil blocking. If you're new to this, this is the soil. Oh, my camera went crooked. This is the soil blocking tool. We import these from England. This is the original brand from Ladbroke. And we stand behind our brand. There's counterfeits as well as knockoffs out there, but there's actually counterfeits with Ladbroke name on them that aren't made in England. You can look where they're shipping from and tell the price is half. And that's your first giveaway, right? But they stand behind us and we stand behind our blockers. They're the best. So this is the small blocker. Now, because your container is, where's one of those blocks? You know, when you're doing this, pulling them apart, you know, your little container is the block, right? And so you want the soil to bond together. You don't want a light, fluffy, airy soil, which is exactly what you want to go in a plug tray, right? Because we use those too on occasion. So this is blocking mix, of which we sell the ready-made mix. We have the recipe to make your own at home. We have the nutrient if you need it. This is the ready-made mix, and you mix it 3 parts of dry mix to 1 part water, and that's so you can get it to come out of the tool. And so this has been moistened, and I'm just going to push it down into a pile of the moist blocking mix a couple of times to make certain that my chambers are full. And yes, y'all, this is a potato masher. No, we don't sell them. Get one at the grocery store if you don't have one. And the other kind of great thing about soil blocking is that I turned it into a tabletop method because I don't have a greenhouse, y'all. I do all my seed starting in a building like a spare bedroom or a laundry room. So we figured out how to use flat bottom trays with no ridges, with no drainage holes, which means that you can grow and water anywhere in your home and not worry about water dripping everywhere. So you place your tool right on the tray, give it a push and a pull, and we just made 20 little containers. I mean, literally, we still have the same soil blocker I started with 25 years ago. It's not this, because they used to be red. So we don't show a red one because they don't come in red anymore. But this is a forever tool, right? So we just made the 20 blocks, and now I'm going to show you how I sow seeds. I'm going to turn this around, but I'm going to show you this again for anybody that's just shown up. So this is a 5-week-old seedling, over age. He should have been planted at least last week. And just look at those roots, and I just pulled them apart. I didn't untangle his roots. When you plant them on time, the roots grow to the edge of the blocks and they kind of get air pruned. And that's why they suffer no transplant shock. Instead of having to recover from their roots being all unraveled from going round and round in a container, which is naturally what it does, these guys just dive into the soil around them. I mean, literally, y'all, I have lived it for all these years. It's pretty amazing. So let's see how we sow seeds. So I brought some Ami Magus seed up here because it's pretty small. I'm constantly trying not to break the arm of the camera and not knock stuff in the floor. All right. So Ami Magus is like, people think it's Queen Anne's lace, but it's not. It looks better than Queen Anne's lace in some instances. But it is a tiny little dusty seed. So it can be really difficult. We sow seeds from one of these little aluminum seed pans because it has no static electricity. And when you have no static electricity and you combine that, I had a toothpick, y'all. All right, let me see where I've lost it here. All right, I gotta go find another one. So with no static electricity, you can't believe how easy it is to get a little seed to jump right onto your toothpick. All right, I found one. We got toothpicks all over the place. And literally, you just use a toothpick and you moisten the end of it with saliva because saliva is stickier than water. So you can see I've just dumped some seeds in here, and literally when I touch my toothpick to the end of that little seed, it just literally hops right on. Wait a minute, y'all, I didn't read my instructions. What am I supposed to do with this seed? The seed packet tells you, lightly cover seed with soil. Allow 5 to 14 days to germinate. Tells you how to space them. And it tells you what winter hardiness zone. So, lightly cover means that I'm going to push it down just a little bit more into the soil. So a seed jumps on. This is really quick, y'all, when you're not doing a show and talking and carrying on with people. I'm just firmly seeding it down in the soil. And with no static, it just goes really, really smooth. And this is how we sow tiny seeds. Now, most tiny seeds don't need to be covered with soil at all. It says lightly, needs light. We just literally firmly just seed it. You want to be sure it has really great contact, and it is just so easy to go. And this is like, if you ever enjoyed cross stitching or anything like that, you will be addicted to this. It is so much blooming fun, y'all. All right, I'm going to stop now. All right, so that's how we sow Ami Magus seeds. So surface sown are just firmly seeded. This says lightly cover, so I push the seed a little bit deeper down in there. And if it said cover the seed with soil because it needs darkness, you would just push it down deeper into the actual block. That's how you provide that cover. You don't need to sprinkle dirt on top or do anything like that. So let me show you. I'm supposed to be watching what I'm doing here, y'all. So let me show you how you could get started in soil blocking. I have the soil block maker kit up. Now again, we sold out of this weekend before last. And because we sold out like day one, we decided to feature it last weekend for the people. There was a lot of people on the wait list. So we did it again and we sold out again, even though we were keeping an eye on it. Anyway. So here we are again, and we've loaded the app with stock. So the Soil Block Maker Kit, even when it's not on sale, you're saving I believe it's like 13%, I think, just because when we put a bunch of stuff together, we discount it. Well, in addition to that, it's normally $89.95. It is 20% off until Wednesday, or supplies last. and it's $71.96 plus shipping. What a deal. And that's only here in the app, y'all. You cannot get this on the website. So this comes with a bag of our ready-made mix. This is a 6-quart bag. This bag makes about 600 of those little small blocks, y'all. That's a lot of blocks, right? So 600 blocks. It comes with your small 3/4 inch Ladbroke soil block maker. It comes with your choice. You choose at checkout whether you want 3 warm season seeds or 3 cool season seeds, which obviously is the hot item of the season. Rocket Snaps, what do they call it now? White Wonder, Feverfew, and Indian Summer Rudbeckia, just top sellers. The kit also includes my Seed Starting Made Easy online course. Y'all, you get to have this for life. It's unlimited lifetime access. It takes you all the way through, starting, growing them up, hardening them off, getting them out in the garden, as well as a session on sowing seeds out in the garden and sowing sunflower seeds in plug trays. Everything you need for starting seeds is right in that course. And then it also comes with 5 of our large trays, which hold 3 sets of 20. So 60 plants. There's your aluminum seed pan, no static electricity. We've got a little pack of toothpicks, as well as these little wooden plant ID tags, but I use them for like tools to handle my soil blocks when I need to. So you get all of this. I mean, it is the bargain of a lifetime, y'all. I'm not kidding. For $71.96 plus $12 shipping, $11.95. And you can add anything to that and the shipping will not change. So that's pretty phenomenal. And then you are set for starting seeds with soil blocking. You know, you're ready to start soil blocking when you have those pieces. You just add soil and seed every year. Your other stuff is all reusable. Those foam trays, we reuse them for years. They are not intended to be used just one time. All right, let me see what I have now. Oh, I brought on something that I didn't tell anybody I was going to bring on, but I felt like we hadn't offered these in a long time, so I brought them over because maybe you don't want all that stuff. Maybe you just want the tools. So I brought the soil block maker set over. So this set includes the small blocker, and it includes the 2-inch blocker. This is the perfect time of the year for this. This is the larger blocker, which I don't use this often, but when I need it, I need it. This is what I start sweet peas in, squash, zucchini, all those larger seed stuff, beets, sunflowers. And so this comes with the 2-inch blocker. And now this blocker normally comes with these nipples, which it does come with that. But in the set, you can pop those out and then put in these inserts to pop these in. And this would make a perfect hole. Y'all, this is so awesome. In the top of the 2-inch block that you can bump a small up to a large. Now, I don't do that very frequently, but you don't want to know what I do it with? Eucalyptus, tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant. Those plants that I just want to grow bigger. If you have not seen a tomato grown in a 2-inch blocker, you haven't seen roots yet. I mean, it is phenomenal. Sorry, y'all. I've got a cold. So the soil block maker set is $87.95, and I'm guessing, I do not know the prices by heart, y'all. I think that's like 5% off or $5 off buying them separately. So that'll have you set to start any size seed. That's the only time we don't use the small blocker is when the seed just won't fit in this. Because let me tell you, this bag of soil, I didn't take my medicine, y'all. This bag of soil will make 600. I'm going to have to go for a walk. Excuse me. find a cough drop. We have no cough drops, but we have Reese cups. All right, y'all, I'm gonna try to get through this. Sorry. Once it starts, it'll stop. What I wanted to say is this bag makes 600 of small blocks or 30 of big ones. Does that tell you why? You want to always go small. All right. Now, let's see what's next here. Besides me choking to death. All right. My key to, many of those seeds that we just looked at, the seedlings, are surface sown. And how do you keep the surface moist? This is what we like to use. This is wide weave burlap, and it retains moisture, but it allows air to pass through, unlike plastic. Nothing wrong with plastic domes, and some people even lay saran wrap on top of the soil. But I know my limitations, and when you're using plastic, you have to really monitor closely to not encourage disease like fungus, like dampening off. This helps to retain moisture, but it also allows air circulation. So the burlap that we like to use, literally, I saw 3 pallets of this come in today. We buy it from a company. See how big the holes are? A 3x3 piece is $3.95, or you can get a 3-pack for $9.95. And literally, you just lay it on top of the soil blocks after you've sown the seeds, and we put it onto the seedling heat mat. And then when you water in the morning, you pull it back. The first sign of seeds cracking, you take this off, because they will quickly pop through those holes. And when you pull it off, you'll pull your babies out. You don't want that to happen, right? So that is burlap. And so I want to talk about the seedling heat mat, which I skipped right over in my coughing fury. Sorry about that, y'all. So I knew I was forgetting to do something earlier. People often ask, do you really use a seedling heat mat for cool season? Yes, we do. And because seeds have to know when it's time to wake up, right? And temperature change is a big part of that. And even though they don't want it hot, they still need some warmth, and that's what signals them. And so this is the seedling heat mat. It's got a built-in thermostat, and this thermostat is regulated off of the air temperature. That's why it's so important to have cooler air temperatures. Like, you could never start successfully, probably, cool season hardy annuals in a greenhouse this time of year. I mean, we were 80-some degrees today. They are just not going to sprout, right? It's just too much heat. But we plug this in cooler conditions. And then in addition to that, this is just a cookie cooling rack, y'all. This was my mom's. And see, it's got the little feet on it. We literally just put the cookie cooling rack on top of the seedling heat mat. And that creates an airspace. And that airspace just cools it down just a smidgen. However, it continually produces 24/7 warmth, which is exactly what they need. So a seedling heat mat makes all the difference in the world. It's just a must-have. If you're struggling to get seeds germinate and you aren't using one, that is definitely the first place I would be looking at. All right, let's see where I am here. Now my mouse doesn't want, there it is, want to cooperate. Frequently asked, how do we keep our seedlings growing and just looking so great, right? And, literally I've used the same thing for 20 years. It's Neptune's seaweed fish. It's liquid and it's stinky, be prepared. It's 1 tablespoon to a gallon, which is actually like the house plant instructions that are on here. And once a week, on Mondays, my watering can that I water all these plants with gets a teaspoon of this in a gallon, tablespoon, sorry, in a gallon. And then everybody gets watered with that. And then they get that meal once a week that just helps them. And, as with all other organic-based biology type of fertilizers and soil, this just makes the soil healthier, right? So that is 18 ounces, and it is $18.95. It'll last you a pretty long time. You can also use it out in the garden for soil drench, foliar feeding. It's all around great stuff. We love it. We've used it for many, many years. Now, one of the things, especially when you're using a seedling heat mat and grow lights, there's never enough space, ever. I mean, I'm 30 years in, right? And we're on the brink. I'm already looking at some of my seedlings and saying, who's going to get kicked outside first? Because there's more stuff coming on, right? So it's really important to use the proper size tray for what you're starting. If you only need 20 of something, this is the size tray I would use. So it takes up the minimum amount of square footage or real estate on your heat mat and your grow lights. So this will hold one set of 20. These are the minis. They're $1.95 for 5, or you can get 25 packs in all of these. This is the small. It holds 2 sets of 20. And again, this is $2.95 for a set of 5. And friends, these last you literally for years. This is the large, which is the size that comes in the kit, and it's $3.95, and it'll hold 3 sets of 20. So all of these are available in 5 and 25 packs. And I use so many different trays because I'm always trying to make sure there's no tray with open space on it. You never want to mix varieties on a tray. And so this is what helps us to be able to do that properly. Now, I want to talk to you about 2 things. Used to be I would only talk to you about one. But I want to talk to you first about insect netting, and then I'm going to talk to you about floating row cover. And I use both of them for things that most people don't use them for. Insect netting, which is this, is a nylon stretchy material, just like a pair of pantyhose. Looks like row cover, but it's very different. And why I love this stuff. First off, it lets more light in and allows more heat out. So for me, this time of the year when we're trying to plant cool season hardy annuals out in the garden, and it might be warmer than I like, and I typically like to plant into black side up on the biodegradable film to get the benefit all winter, I don't want my seedlings to overheat. So I use insect netting to make a sun cap. And I do that by putting hoops in and then gathering this. It's 6.5 feet wide, just like row cover is. Pulling it out and then pinning up the sides using those big jumbo clips that you can get at the hardware store, at any big box store. And that creates a little cap, but the sides are wide open. So great air circulation. They're getting great sun from the top, and it cools the surface of the bed down so much. I use insect netting for all the things that you're supposed to use it for also, but this has become where it's really been priceless to us. We planted a bed last year. I think I posted it today on social. That big coxcomb that's as tall as I am with the huge heads, that was actually planted as small transplants on a 97-degree day. But we installed the sun cap every 10 feet as they were being planted. We did not lose one transplant. This stuff is pretty phenomenal, and I can't recommend it enough. It comes in, what does it come in? 6.5 feet wide. It comes in a short piece of 20 feet, or you can get a 50-footer. And there's also 100 feet available. It's just great, and I use it with hoops and weight bags as normally, or you can use those big gym clips to actually hold it. Now, the thing that we usually use this time of the year, or what I used up until I started working with insect netting a couple of years ago, was row cover. But row cover is supposed to be trapping heat. That's the point we use it. That's why it doesn't really work well for trying to cool a bed down. Row cover is made to trap thermal mass, right? And so I still use row cover, but literally I use this in the cold months and use insect netting when it's warm to hot, right? So this is the lightest weight row cover. It's the Ag 19. It allows 85% of air, water, and light to pass through it which is really important for me because I use it all winter on many of my cool flowers, not for cold protection because I don't grow anything that doesn't survive my winter, but from wind. I mean, even stuff that survives your winter does not want to be wind whipped with 20-degree cold wind, right? That's where this really comes in. So this is, I'm not on the right. Here we go. This comes in a 20-foot and a 50-foot. It's 6.5 feet wide, just like the insect netting. $12.95 for a 20-foot piece. We do have hoops over at thegardenersworkshop.com if you need them, and the weight bags or anchor bags. And it's just my ticket to winter. I think that's why my cool flowers come out of winter so much better than some people. I do not use row cover to protect from cold. Certainly if it's dropping deep and fast, I love having the buffer of a row cover to help soften that swing, but I mainly use it to protect from cold wind and grazing varmints like deer and rabbits, and of course golden retrievers that tend to not run on beds that have hoops and row cover on it, right? So row cover is a pretty big deal for me, and this is what it looks like when it's installed in winter with hoops on it. 3 bags on the end, a bag at the foot of every hoop. A hoop is installed every 10 to 12 feet. And there's just a bigger garden. I mean, this is me for winter. We have rolling, ravaging wind here all winter. And that just really helps a whole lot. So I want to tell you about the last thing, and then we're going to wrap up here. And that is, y'all, the big calendar journal. So today, we actually had the first proof printed. I mean, it's 20, here it is. Nothing is printed on this. This is the size. This is how big it is, y'all. This is what makes it so special. There's actually room to write what you need to know next year about what you did this year and what your seed starting schedule is and when you're supposed to plant stuff. So today we printed the first file. We had to take it to a blueprint place to actually get it printed, and y'all, it's just coming together so well. We're trying to make it so simple and easy for you to follow through the flow of figuring out when you can plant. There's like 8 different succession planting opportunities, and you see which one fits. Maybe all of them fit for you, or maybe they all don't. But you easily can figure it out with a little bit of an equation. And then to figure out how to start building your seed starting lists on your planting windows, it's just going to be amazing. And we just can't wait for it to get here this winter. And so it's $39.95. What a deal. I mean, literally. And everyone that purchases during the pre-sale is going to also be invited to the live workshop, where we're going to go through those 8 successions. I mean, I'm going to walk you through, find your date. When is your frost date? All right, count this. So you can kind of note your planting windows. When you know you're supposed to plant, then you can build your seed starting list backing up from that. It's just that simple. I mean, I never knew that being this 3-season succession planting flower farmer literally comes down to counting weeks, counting back. When do you start it to have it ready at the right time? And you just get better and better at it each year as you become more of a stellar seed starter. And anyway, it's going to be shipping in late November probably. And, we never know, right? I mean, we can't promise anything, but that's the plan. And so you'll have it. And so get on the wait list. I have it up now. So as soon as we open the pre-sale, you'll be able to purchase it, and then we will be waiting for those calendars to be produced and to show up here. We're just so thrilled. They're being printed here in the United States, and we're just really, really thrilled about it. Super excited. All right, my friends, so it's time to wrap up, but I'll do my Q&A. See, once my little coughing spell goes by, I'm going to have to take drugs to go to bed, though, I'm pretty sure. So, friends, remember that we have so many free resources over at thegardenersworkshop.com. We have videos, blogs. You can connect with our podcasts. I mean, truly, everything we do is to help you grow cut flowers. We can teach you, we can equip you. We have at every level, whether you're starting a business or just growing for pleasure, which is the funnest, I have to say. We've got it for you, right? And so we have an all things soil blocking section over on our website. And we have a couple of podcasts that you might want to listen to. Seed Talk, episode 74 is soil blocking, frequently asked questions. Then there's Field and Garden podcast, which is I host. Number 104 is easy indoor seed starting with soil blocking. So you might want to check those out. And so where can you find Cool Flower seed packs? You know, we have them available here in our app. Just look for, I can't do it on my phone now. Well, I guess I can leave that. It's not going to let me do it. There's a cool season seed category here in the app and on our website. Those are all the cool season hardy annuals, y'all. You can look at each one and figure out if you don't have a book. And remember, over at the website. So I have 3 books: Cool Flowers, Vegetables Love Flowers, and the Cut Flower Handbook. And all 3 of them kind of talk about different areas. Cool Flowers, the Cool Flower concept. Vegetables Love Flowers is really about my natural philosophy of gardening and farming and how I don't use pesticides. And then the Cut Flower Handbook brings all the magic together, and I would love for you to have all of those. So remember that this Wednesday, 2 nights from now, 8 p.m., I have a show. Friday, we have our big show every week with our big harvest is highlighted, and that's at 12 noon. We do a giveaway each week. Usually it's a $25 store credit, and you can watch all the reruns on the app. And you'll also find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. And so we get around, y'all, because teaching is our passion, and then equipping you with what you need to do it is what we really focus on. So friends, if you're not going to hang for the Q&A, thanks for joining me, and please tell a friend, and hope to see you again. All right, I'm going to look for some questions here. Thank y'all for all the kind words. Oh, somebody's soul blocking. Thank you, Amber. Linda, with my fall planted larkspur, seeing a few develop flower heads despite their being quite small still. Better to pick them or leave them alone. Linda, where do you live? See, it's too early for us. It's way early for us. We don't usually, well, not way early. I cannot believe October is only a couple of weeks away. See, if you plant cool flowers too early in late summer and fall, they get such a long runway. They do think it's time to put on the dog, So Linda, if you're still here, come on here and tell me where you are, what zone you're in. All right. Will the live workshop have a replay in the event you can make the date of, if you can't make the date of the workshop? Lisa, I'm not sure what they're doing, but I think so. I mean, that's usually pretty much standard. At the very least, it would be available for a couple, 3 weeks after that date. I have not been a part of that conversation yet. Yeah. Row cover on direct sow too. Yes, you can use row cover to lay directly on direct sown seeds. That keeps the birds off of them, as well as helps to retain moisture. That's the fabric I sewed onto my burlap pieces. Maybe so. Thank y'all. Oh, y'all are so nice. I sewed under the burlap that I used for my trays a piece of netting fabric that isn't so holey, and it helps when the plant baby starts sprouting to not get caught. Oh, that's a good idea. Lisa, they are so tiny. Should I remove burlap with just a few germinated? My biggest fear, because I've done it, I've ripped out a tray of snaps one time, just lifted that burlap off, and they had all just kind of popped. In doubt, take the burlap off, because if many of them are sprouting, that's done their job. You know, they've had good moisture. Lisa, when do you remove burlap? I have a few snapdragons germinated, so that's Laura again. I'm going backwards, y'all, sorry. After you have your cool flowers planted, you cover with row covers. Do you leave the covers on all season, regardless of temperatures through winter? No, Jana, that's a great question. So, when we plant cool flowers, which we'll start planting in October, 1st of October throughout October, we put everything out there. The hoops are installed, the row covers are laying out there, all the weight bags are there. And I typically don't put my covers up until we hit like mid-20s. Because if not, you're putting them up and down a whole lot. I mean, those cool flowers can take anything over 25 degrees like a real champ. It's just when it gets colder and it's windy, it's just really, really hard on them, right? So I don't put them up till it's 25. And then if we get warm days where it goes above 55 degrees in the afternoons, I will take the covers down temporarily until it cools down again, because you don't want to encourage them to start regrowing. You're hoping they're going dormant under there, right? So you don't want to encourage that by leaving them covered on a sunny afternoon when it gets up to 60 degrees, and they'll just start growing all over again. I'm thinking the Reese cups are going in with me. Thank you, guys. Nope, here by myself. Well, my man's in the house, but not out here in the studio. So, Lisa, when do you move the flowers out and plant them? So, we're looking for a 3 to 5 inch transplant. Like these kale that I've told you is, you know, they're really a week too old. This is kind of the size, a little bit bigger, maybe an inch shorter than this. This is what I'm looking for. I move them from the grow room once I feel like they can take a little bit of wind out there. Like those snapdragons, they're so fragile at that point. One less wind out there and they'd flatten them all. So, I mean, these guys, actually there's a fan going in here because I'm so hot all the time over there. And see, these guys are pretty sturdy, you know. These guys could go out tomorrow if I needed the space. But the thing that I have to think about is when I move them outside, especially if it's cooler outside, which it's not here, moving them outside might help them grow faster. It's warmer out there. It's just nature. It's outside, you know. I think that's just a better condition. So I'm looking for a 1 to 2 inch sturdy seedling to be moved out to my hardening off area. And my hardening off area is very well protected. I've taken great steps to make it safe so I can just put my stuff out there and not have to worry about it. And then they get planted out in the garden when they're 3 to 5 days old. 3 to 5 inches. Thank y'all. This is way too slow and painstaking to be useful on a commercial scale. That's not true, Full Moon. We did over 100,000 seedlings a year, and in fact, it is much more streamlined than my friends, co-workers, or peers that sow seeds in trays and then have to thin and pot them up. We plant one seed in one block and it grows in that block quicker and faster, and that block is planted outside in the garden. So we found them to be extremely efficient. It's very different if you're set up to do it another way and then try to dabble in it. It might not seem very efficient, but in fact it is. We are incredibly quick, space savvy. We can grow a lot, and it's very cost effective. Did y'all hear me coughing to death? Okay. Can you pick between the small blocker or the big blocker for the kit that's on sale? No, the kit only comes with the small blocker. You can purchase the large blocker and the inserts to add on. I think there's a little bit of a discount when the inserts come with it. When I strip leaves off zinnias, sometimes they come off attached to a strand of stem. Does that affect the base life? Depends on how deep and long it is. It could. You know, and if it's a really thick stem and a leaf that I'm getting ready to pull off, sometimes I'll snip it with my clippers. What do you do with your leftover wet blocking mix. Tina, we just let it dry out. So that big tub literally just sits over. There's Bobo's is over there. This one is over here. And so like tonight we just used it on Friday. I just re-wet it. You never close it into a closed container. You just let it sit out in the air. It'll air dry. You just add water to reconstitute it to good blocking mix. I asked the question last time but didn't get clearly enough to have an answer. What I was meaning, what do you do when you plant a soil block, all the same seed, and some sprout way earlier than others, so you have some that are very big and ready to be planted out, and there are other very tiny, just recently sprouted? It depends on the percentages. Like, for instance, there's some of those in here that I was just showing you. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was the snaps. Had probably 10% that sprouted before everybody else. A lot of times they'll catch up with one another, but whoever the greatest numbers are is who I cater to. Meaning, if 50% of them are bigger than the rest of them, I move them out when those biggest ones need to be moved out. Because many times when that's happened to us, Bobo will plant a tray, and if there are some that are decent little seedlings, but they just aren't big enough yet, and we're kind of hungry for transplants, she'll just put them back in the tray, and we'll grow them for another week or two. But I would go with the largest volume size and cater to those needs. I know exactly what you're talking about. I need a combo to do cool flowers in a flower bed, the same zone and freeze dates as you, but I'm in North Texas. I need a combo. I mean, I'm the worst for picking flowers. That's why I grow them all. What do you think I got to become a flower farmer? I have the worst time picking, but if you're asking me what would 2 great cool flowers be, I can't even imagine. You know, but Bells of Ireland, which will grow really great for you, Paula, down there. Bells of Ireland and snaps, you know, and then I just think of all the others. I can't even hardly. So, you know, as I was showing y'all those transplants, I was thinking, darn, I should have just brought the seeds up. All of those plants are in the app. And sorry about that. Lambada Monarda. Yeah, he could be a Harry Potter. If I cover my planting beds in winter, am I not able to fall plant unless I can cover all the seedlings with the tarp, correct? No, Sally. It's not a tarp, it's a row cover. Silage tarp is something you just cover soil with, not plants. But you can fall plant anything that is winter hardy in your zone. And the books and the resources, as well as the seeds, on our website and here in the app tell you what winter hardiness zone they survive. All right, my friends, I guess I'm going to have to go. I have some rocket snapdragons and soil blocks. I hope to plant them next week. Will I pinch them back before spring? So I prefer not to pinch if I don't have to in the fall. I like to pinch in very early spring after they've made it through winter and they're just starting to start growth. But if you pinch them, either pinch them a couple weeks before you plant them or a couple weeks after you plant them. And you want to pinch them, if you do it out in the garden, while they still have a couple, 3 weeks before first frost. Pinching is a stress, just like planting is, and you just want them to get over it. You don't want to plant and pinch at the same time. That's just a double stress. Why even do that, right? But yeah, so that's up to you. I typically don't pinch in the fall. We just don't have time. And the timing just never works out for us. But it just depends on what you're doing. So friends, thank you so much. Thank you for all your kind wishes and prayers. And I'll be better. I have bad allergies. I don't take allergy medicine, and it goes right to my head and right down to my chest. And that's what's happened. I haven't had it in a couple years. But anyway, so Wednesday, I will see you on Ask a Flower Farmer at 3 o'clock on Instagram. And Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, right back here. Same place, same time, y'all. All right, my friends, thank you so much. And remember, the Soil Block Maker kit is in stock again and available and is on sale until Wednesday at midnight, 12 midnight Eastern time.